This is Coach Ron Wilhelm. I'll be interviewing him for the 80s Pop Culture Project. What was your favorite movie in high school?
Favorite movie? Probably the Rocky movies when I was in high school. And I also liked Revenge of the Nerds because it reminded me of my twin brother.
What type of car did you drive? Do you have one?
I drove a Mustang. I drove a green hatchback Mustang.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Were there any big fads growing up?
Yeah, I mean, mullets ruled in the 80s. We also would tight roll our jeans. Those were the big ones that I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had pajama pants or whatever, the parachute pants they used to call them, stuff like that too.
Nice. Do you have any girlfriends?
Yep, and then I married her. I got my first girlfriend my senior year, fell in love and then married her.
That was the only girlfriend you had?
That was the only girl. I thought of myself as a Casanova, but when I look back on it, it was really, my story was meet girl, fall in love with girl, marry girl. That was it.
Nice. What sports did you play?
I was on the wrestling team and the soccer team in high school.
How good were you at wrestling?
Probably one of the best in the nation.
Nice. We got a king.
Yeah.
Where would you and your friends go on the weekends?
You know, Ronnie's movie theater was big back then. It wasn't as big as it is now, but that was really big up on Lindbergh still. So we would go there, and Six Flags was in existence too. So a lot of us had season passes to go there. And then as I got older and we could drive, we went to a lot of Cardinal games, Blues games, stuff like that.
What type of music did you listen to?
You know, the good thing about the 80s is if you turned on a station, you were going to hear all of the big hits of the day at the time. So pop, rock, rap was coming into its own. I listened to all of it. Just everything but country. I didn't listen to much country when I was in high school.
Any favorite artists?
Oh, I gotta love MJ, Michael Jackson, one of my favorite of all time.
What were your fears growing up?
I was fearful that I would kill my brother during the fights. I was always a little bit stronger and a little bit meaner, so my fear was that I would punch him too hard he would actually die. So I didn't want to get charged with homicide at such a young age.
Cell phones were coming into the 80s, weren't they?
No, they were later than that still, yeah. So if somebody had them in the late 80s, I didn't know anybody. That must have been for the ultra-rich, and they were really big and that. So no, and in fact, I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 35 years old. So
wow.
Yeah, it was definitely not a part of my culture growing up.
All right. Were there any common quotes, kind of like how we have YOLO?
Oh, yeah. You know, dude was big back then. But there was the Valley Girl kind of speak was a little bit up. Probably Coach Benish would know. He kind of remembers all this stuff from back in the day. But I'd have to really go back and think about that. I always speak so eloquently. I don't think I used any of the slang words.
Did you have a job?
I did. My first job was actually scooping ice cream at a ice cream parlor in Crestwood Mall, which barely exists now, if it even does exist. And then I worked for a moving company to help put myself through high school. After high school, I went into college. I worked for United Van Lines.
That's awesome. What was the style?
For the clothes and everything?
Yeah.
You know, jeans were still big, high tops were big. I'll tell you the other thing that was big was jean jackets were really big back in the day. You'd have the comb in your jeans, or, you know, so you could comb your mullet. That was the big thing back then.
All right. What kind of concerts did you attend, if you attended any?
Well, I'll tell you, the group that I have seen probably close to 10 times in concert now was REO Speedwagon, probably my favorite band of all time. I remember the first concert I ever saw was the Bee Gees, of all things, a disco group. My mom loved disco, so my first concert was the Bee Gees, but REO has been the one that I've attended the most.
All right. How much were the tickets?
Oh, you know what? You could get a ticket into a concert for $8 to $10 back then.
Really?
You know, yeah, and get a decent seat. Shoot, I actually, my wife doesn't know this, but I just bought our concert tickets for Bon Jovi, which is coming in April, and another 80s band for you. But they're also big now. But the cheapest seats were $50, and that's nosebleed. You know, they were going for as high as $350. So, yeah, big difference in ticket prices.
Where were the concerts held?
Well, believe it or not, it used to be called, what you guys call it, Fair St. Louis. It's called DP Fair now. They would put on free concerts down there. If they weren't there, they were going to be held at the old arena usually. It was called the Checker Dome at the time. And then the really big ones, like if you were going to see the Beatles or something like that, that would be a Busch Stadium, the old Busch Stadium.
What was high school like for you, using one word?
The one word would be awesome, because those 4 years, if you take my 4 years in high school and my 4 years in college, those were the best 8 years of my life. In fact, the number one reason I became a teacher is because I enjoyed my high school years so much. I enjoy the setting, I enjoy everything about high school education and athletics that I would have to be awesome.
What style of hair did you have?
You know, I believe it or not, you wouldn't know this by the way I look now, but I love having a mullet. Okay, it would be a little bit longer in back, and you know, you might feather it on the top or keep it a little bit short. Think of Joe Dirt, the perfect mullet, and I idolize Joe Dirt.
Did you do anything to style it?
No, once I began losing my hair, though, I shaved it. But that was it. Actually, when I met my girlfriend in my senior year, I began cutting it short. So she actually never knew me during my mullet days. We didn't meet until April of my senior year. But up until then, I wore my hair longer in the back. And I don't remember styling it much other than just combing it out.
All right. Were you popular in high school?
I was popular in the athletic arena. I mean, I wasn't on student council, or I wasn't in the academic, because sports was taking up most of my time. So I would have been popular among the athletes,
yeah,
but not among some of the other groups.
Okay. Last question.
Okay.
What's something you will always remember about your high school days?
You know, probably my wrestling career, and I'll also remember a buddy of mine named Tony Carenza, who I've shared with. He was able to get free food, so for all of us, that was made for a lot of hilarious Friday nights.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right.
80s, best decade ever.
Right.